Hey guys, this is Nick from forexnoobs.com with some daily analysis. Today is Tuesday, the 26th of July, 2016, and the time is 1300 hours here in the UK. You're looking at a Euro USD 8-hour chart. We'll pop up to the daily. In today's analysis, we're going to be looking at most of the pairs on this list here. We probably won't be covering the pairs down the bottom here, but we'll be covering most of the pairs on this list. And we'll be looking at each and every time frame for those pairs. The purpose of this analysis is to scan for price action setups. By that, I mean that I'm going to be looking at each pair, each time frame, and we're going to be looking for potential price action setups forming on the pairs and time frames. The reason I look at each time frame is because it gives me a clear idea of what price is doing in a certain area. Now, I have a lot of weird time frames up here. That does not mean I trade all of these time frames. The only time frames I trade are the 3-hour, 4-hour, 6-hour, 8-hour, 12-hour, and daily. These other time frames here, the 9, 10, 11, 7, and 5, I just use those for analysis purposes. They allow me to kind of get an idea of what price is doing in an area, but I don't actually trade those time frames. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I wanted to add one more thing. I am going to be holding a webinar on Saturday the something of July. I think it's 30th. Yeah, Saturday the 30th of July. It's going to be a pretty cool webinar on support resistance areas. There's a link below this video. Please do join the webinar if you can. Now, this analysis has changed slightly. The way I do analysis is changing as of last week. This analysis is now being done live in front of advanced course members. That way they can ask me questions. So this analysis is shot live in front of advanced course members. So I'm going to be interacting with people possibly if they ask me questions. And if they do, I'll be answering those questions. So keep that in mind. If you hear me talking, it's not that I'm talking to myself. It's that I'm answering questions from the chat. Anyway, let's get started with today's analysis. We've got Euro USD up. We'll look at Euro USD and see if there's any potential setups here. Starting with the daily, we'll walk our way down. Nothing really happening here. I mean, it's bouncing from support, but it wasn't really an ideal setup for me. And now it looks like it's fallen back down anyway. All right, GBP USD, let's see what's happening here. GBP USD is stuck in between two support resistance areas. So that means we're probably not going to see any potential setups on this pair. I mean, when it's stuck between two support resistance areas, I can't really take a reversal from a support resistance area. So yeah, AUD USD, let's check that out. AUD USD is again, like GBP USD, stalling between two support resistance areas. So yeah, we're not really going to see anything here. Even if I know I'm not going to see any potential setups, I still go through every time frame. It's just about being in a habit of going through every single time frame. New Zealand USD stuck between two support resistance areas. Looks like it's forming a reversal on the 3-hour. I know some people are in a trade on this pair in the advanced course. I'm not sure. Is anyone in this room right now in that New Zealand USD long? No. All right, well, there's an open trade on the forum. Some people are in a New Zealand USD long, so I'm going to quickly do some analysis for them. There was a long here on the daily chart based on this indecision here. It ended up pushing up overnight. I don't think it's hit everyone's target yet, but there is some concerning signs here on the 12-hour chart. It looks like we're getting a reversal, but it's 9 hours until this candle closes. So 12-hour chart is not something I'm overly concerned about, but looking at the 6-hour, that's 3 hours until close. The 4-hour is 1 hour until close. So that tells us that price has been kind of stuck here for 4 hours and it's forming indecision. Now that alone isn't a bad sign, but when you look over to the left, you see some clear signs of minor support resistance through here. So price has stalled here in the past. So this is a little worrying for this setup. Now, why is it worrying? Because first of all, wait, 12-hour chart. Price was in a pretty strong downtrend on the 12-hour chart and on the daily chart. And this is could be considered potentially a counter trend trade. So when you're trading counter trend, then you've got minor support resistance here, and then you've got indecision forming on minor support resistance. Ding, ding, ding. That's kind of like a bad sign. If this trade has already reached 1.5 risk to reward ratio, I'd say it's probably a good idea to, I personally would probably jump out at this point. Or at the very least, I would wait for something like the 8-hour candle to close just to confirm. But yeah, it's looking like this might be stalling and slowing down. So yeah, if you are in this trade, listening to this analysis, I'm not going to say exit. I'm just going to say be mindful that it could be stalling and it could be reversing. I mean, on the 6-hour, on the 8-hour, everywhere we're kind of seeing indecision. We're seeing price stalling at minor support resistance. So yeah, this could be a sign of this trade kind of the buyer's running out of steam. So do be careful here and consider your next move if you're in this trade. All right, let's look at USD JPY. Now, as we already have seen before I started recording, we do have something happening here on USD JPY. It's actually looking pretty good for a reversal. So on the 6-hour, we could quite clearly see prices stalling, but on the 4-hour is where this looks really good. So on the 4-hour, it's already closed and price is stalling on top of this area of support resistance. You know, it looks like we could potentially get a reversal here. On the 8-hour also, it's got 51 minutes until it closes. This actually looks like it could turn out to be a potentially decent reversal setup. Now let's have a quick look at how I would potentially trade this. If it were to close exactly, oh, what happened there? If it were to close exactly as it looks right now, what I were to do, if it were to close, this candle here were to close exactly as it looks right now. All right, so again, if this candle closed exactly as it is right now, I would consider entering a trade somewhat like this, perhaps a touch higher on the entry. But yeah, it would be something like this. We'd get a nice 1 to 2 risk to reward ratio very easily. No problems with that risk to reward ratio. Might even be a smart idea to pull your stop down to here and just go for a straight 1.5 risk to reward ratio. Stop below support, but I'm not too bothered with that. I think this stop here is fine. Get a 1 to 2 risk to reward ratio, entry above the high of indecision. So the next candle opens, pushes up, breaks the high of the indecision candle, pushes up a few more pips, triggers the entry. That would be an ideal, potentially an ideal long. Now, there's nothing confirmed, nothing for sure until this candle closes. You know, I can't say that this is exactly how I'll trade the setup, because this candle could look very different in the next hour when it closes. But if it closes as it looks now, I am considering potentially entering a trade kind of like this one here. Any questions about this one, guys? I'm going to flick over to USD CAD. If there's any questions, just type them and I'll come back to it. I am in the middle of a 4-trade losing streak. So I'm kind of excited about that USD JPY trade because it looks quite good, and it could be what breaks this losing streak. I know 4-trade losing streak sounds bad, but... Oh, by the way, there was nothing on USD CAD. Just checking GBP JPY now. I know a 4-trade losing streak sounds bad, but statistically speaking, I should expect a losing streak of 4 to 6 trades. So I'm not really too concerned about it. It's the first time in a long while that I've had a losing streak. So I've kind of been beating the odds on what statistically you would expect. With a win-loss ratio of mine, you would statistically expect four to, well, it depends because it's changed this year. But anyway, my point is I've been beating the statistics for quite some time with my losing streaks. I've not had a long losing streak in a while. So it looks like losing streak gods have finally caught up to me. All right, nothing on all these pairs. AUD, JPY, USD, CHF. Yeah, we're not going to see anything on Euro GBP. You can kind of tell based on where price is right now and how long it's been down there. It's just kind of in this triangle. Triangles aren't really patterns that I trade. So yeah, Euro GBP, we're probably not going to see anything. Quite a boring Tuesday so far, except for that USD JPY setup. Euro AUD between two support resistance areas, so it's unlikely we're going to see any setups. AUD New Zealand between two support resistance areas, so again, unlikely we're going to see any good setups. Nope. Euro New Zealand between two support resistance areas. Yeah, nothing. New Zealand JPY is nah, that lower wick is way too low. Maybe, but no, I'm not. It looks like price is stalling on top of an area of support, but it's just not the kind of setup I'm looking for. GBP AUDs are between two support resistance areas. Gonna add an area here. Yeah, I'm not gonna go. I'm not gonna look at the CAD pairs. I don't have support resistance areas for those pairs. I don't think. Yeah, no support resistance areas for these pairs, so we won't look at these pairs. Although some of them are potentially forming reversals, but for advanced course members, refer to the forums for these setups. Some are in the watch list section and some are in the trade section, I believe. But there's a bit of talk about the CAD setups. But I don't have support resistance areas because I don't usually trade these pairs. So yeah, you're going to have to refer to the forum for the discussions on those. So what I do have is this potential USD CAD setup. That's the one I can see. It's looking good on the 8 hour. We've got 44 minutes until close now, so keep a close eye on this one. But other than that, I'm not seeing any trade setups that I would be interested in taking. So for me, it's really only USD JPY for today. I wish I could give you more setups, but you know, that's just how trading works. You're not always going to get, the market's not always going to give you all the trade setups you want. Keep in mind that this is the kind of analysis I do several times per day. So I am probably going to come back and do this again in 4 hours. I won't be doing this live, or I won't be posting it to YouTube in 4 hours. but I'll be going through my charts again. I go through this process several times per day, and I just look at all my pairs and all my time frames and see if there's anything new. So, you know, even though there's no setups right now, in 4 hours, in 8 hours, there might be some trade setups. So it's kind of about getting into the habit of doing this analysis, looking for the price action setups several times per day. And yeah, if you do that, you'll be unlikely to miss very many setups. All right, is there any questions, guys, before we wrap this analysis up? Or are we all clear? Ooh, there's a lot of people typing. Please keep in mind that this is analysis, so no price action questions. So like, you know, I don't want to, this is purely analysis, so please don't ask questions about the strategy, because again, this is going to the free YouTube channel, so advanced course members, I don't really want to discuss any specific strategy related stuff. You could keep strategy related stuff for the forum or for the advanced course only webinars. But Rob has asked a good question. Are you trading GBP yet? Yeah, I'm trading GBP again, very cautiously. But I'm going to start trading GBP again. Like I said, it's going to be a very cautious approach. But you know, I just keep asking myself, how long am I going to stay away from trading GBP? It doesn't look like we're seeing any crazy swings from Brexit. So I've just said, okay, look, I'm going to start trading it. I'm going to do a reduced position size. I'm going to be risking a lot less than I would normally risk, just in case of Brexit related swings. But I am going to start trading it again. Any other questions, guys? All right, guys, I'm going to stop recording this webinar. Greg, I'll answer your question in the chat. Thank you for attending the analysis. I hope the analysis was useful. Keep an eye out on that USD JPY trade. For those of you in New Zealand USD, keep an eye out on that, because you might potentially be best off closing. Possibly, it's up to you in the end, but do keep that in mind. Thanks for attending the analysis. Thanks for watching the analysis on YouTube, and give me a thumbs up. It does help. I'll see you guys tomorrow.